from the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight as we continue to cover the Broncos' pursuit of their next head coach. And Benjamin, things heating up this week as they're going to round out the rest of their interviews. They're going to interview both Cowboys coordinators. They're going to round things out by Friday with Eric Bieniemy and the Kansas City Chiefs. And maybe as soon as next week, we'll know the direction they're heading at head coach along with the rest of their staff. Now, one of the things that you and I talk about a lot on Broncos Country Tonight, the radio show, is about the kind of head coach you're looking for. You're looking for a CEO type, a leader of men, all those kinds of things. But you're also looking for, and we keep hearing this in a national media narrative, about how, well, you got to play Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert 2 times a year. It's the same thing with the quarterback. Like, why would Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson ever want to come to a division where you're going to have to face those quarterbacks twice a year? You and I have said multiple times on Broncos Country Tonight, as far as we're concerned, I want the guy that wants to play against those guys.
Yeah, maybe not being challenged by Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Fields may want to make a guy find a new challenge. I don't know. I think guys just look for the organization they feel comfortable with and go from there. I don't think they're scared off. I think every quarterback in the NFL kind of has that arrogance that's like, hey, I can compete with anybody,
Same thing with head coaches, right?
And that's the thing. So I think with I think with the head coach situation, we know George Paton specifically noted that he did not want the defense to take a step backwards. So that was something that he had mentioned as well. So I think they are. I think they're looking for somebody that's got a plan for both sides of the football, how to fix the offense, not necessarily just an offensive-minded person, and go from there.
There's an evolution that needs to happen with the offense. I sort of feel like the defense, they don't want to take a step back. They have a lot of talent. They spend a lot of money on that side of the ball. Mm-hmm. I think the expectations will remain high, but the offense has really sputtered over several different OCs, over several different quarterbacks. And I mean, the thing about it is you could say, well, it isn't one person or one specific thing we're missing here. It's a lot of things. So when you're asking these head coaches, okay, what's your plan for the offense? There might be several different ways that they could fix it outside, of course, the quarterback.
I think all of them are going to say the quarterback. I mean, that really is the thing, though. I mean, there are some other things here or there, but reality is it's the quarterback. You go back and you look, and these offenses that have been here and the offensive coordinators that have been here have worked other places. Bill Musgrave got an MVP caliber season out of Derek Carr. Then he comes here and can't get it done. Case Keenum got to the playoffs. He got deep into the playoffs with Minnesota, and then he gets out here and can't get it done. I think it's a combination of finding the right quarterback and finding the right, head coach that knows how to put the right system and scheme and identity around a guy, and you just keep building on that, I think they've got a pretty plug-and-play offense in terms of everything else. Need a few things along the offensive line to get shorn up, but other than that, the offense is pretty set outside of quarterback, and I feel like that's really the direction that they need to nail down.
But coming back to the original point that I was bringing up with you about this national media narrative, and you tend to be plugged into the national side of things. Why does this keep coming up about how the Broncos' job is not very attractive because you have to play against these high-level quarterbacks?
People like to make things up. I don't know. Like that's I can tell you from talking to that's not a real thing. That's not a real thing to coaches. That's not a real thing to any of the quarterbacks out there.
It's a media-driven.
Russell Wilson is not saying I'm not going to the AFC West because I don't want to play against Herbert and Mahomes. Like, that's not a real thing. And coaches, and the other thing is the ownership thing. That's not a real thing either. Like, coaches and players are not coming to Denver because there's no ownership. That's absolutely ludicrous. Got columnists write stuff to fill column space, and that's where that stuff comes from.
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough. And I just heard it again today, and I came in kind of fired up, as you can see about it.
I can tell you right now, though, that's not a real thing. That is a media creation.
Okay. Well, and that's fair. So, I think that people sort of assign what they believe is logic to these things. They go, well, why would I want to
There's a whole article on The Athletic right now about how Kirk Cousins is the favorite for the Broncos. Kirk Cousins is not in the plan for the Broncos, but it's just somebody connecting dots and writing an article, and that's what happens. Sometimes article guys just speculate on things instead of it being a real report.
I mean, two day 3 picks for Kirk Cousins.
That is not happening. Let me tell you.
We'll talk about
if you want to trade for Kirk Cousins, it's going to be a 1, some 2s, $35 million, in a 4-year extension.
We'll talk about the other radio show. I sort of feel. Never mind. I'm kind of messing with you. But yeah, as far as the head coach goes, this week is a pivotal week for the Broncos. They had a chance to interview the 3 candidates last weekend. the 2 Green Bay guys, as well as Detroit with Aaron Glenn. And then they're going to round out the rest of the interviews this week. What do you feel like the Broncos at this point are hoping to hear?
I think they're hoping to hear solutions. I think they're picking the brains of different people to try to figure out about solutions. Guys mostly that game planned against the Broncos at points this year. I think they're also looking to get advice or attitude from winning cultures, Gerard Mayo, or the Packers guys. I think they're also looking at finding out, coaches that get their players invested in playing for them late in the season, even when it's a lost cause, like Aaron Glenn. So I think they're trying to pick the brains of multiple different things. I don't think that Aaron Glenn is particularly going to get the job. I don't think he's a front runner. One other thing that I don't think that people keep doing, I don't think Nathaniel Hackett and Luke Getsy are a pair. I don't think that's coming. I don't think that's happening as a pair deal. I think if Getsy came, I think it would be as someone else's OC. I think if Nathaniel Hackett comes, he'll bring his own staff.
That could make some sense just based on where they're at, relatively speaking, in their careers. And again, Hackett's history versus Getsy's history, it's not like they've been coming up through the ranks together. And I think sometimes people just assume when you're on the same staff at the same time that, you logically want to stay with that person. That's not always the case.
Right. And when any pairing in leadership, if you're a head coach or a coordinator or whatever, when you're setting all that up, you need one guy to be the good guy and the other guy to be the bad guy. You need somebody who's going to be the disciplinarian, And so if you're Dan Quinn, you usually hire the disciplinarian because you're the high energy good guy that everybody likes, right? And if you're Matt LaFleur, you're the disciplinarian, you hire the higher energy guy to come in and be the good guy, kind of player's guy with you with Nathaniel Hackett. So just 2 differing styles on how you can set that up.
Oh, man, I can't wait till they get this resolved. We get a head coach, and then we can sort of start breaking things down and mapping things out from a schematic standpoint on what to expect, because that's really where the next evolution of all of this goes to, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because we kind of know what the defense is going to mostly look like in one form or another. There could be some scheme changes and tweaks here and there, but I'm saying from the offensive side, how many times did we spend last year talking about guys not being used correctly, guys not being used as far as their skill sets go, and kind of pounding our head against the table wondering, okay, at some point, maybe there's going to be an understanding there, or maybe the players will have a chance to have their voices heard. Who knows? Maybe this next coaching staff will have that happen.
I think collaborative work environment is the key phrase.
It's a big one. That's a big one. All right. We'll have more coverage, of course, on tomorrow's episode of Broncos Country Tonight. For Benjamin Allbright, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching.